order was that we amend that county ordinance, indicating that without that, the ordinance was unconstitutional because it excluded certain uses of property. I do have a copy of the order here. And I talked with the county attorney today, and she unfortunately could not be here tonight, but she did say that that was not appealable. We could not appeal that. This is not a specific, application for a specific site. This is an issue with a text amendment. And once the text amendment goes through the process on the 28th, then Ron's office will receive an application from the applicant for a rezoning. And then that will be the time to talk the specifics of the rezoning. A lot of issues will have to be answered, a lot of questions will have to be answered, and we'll certainly do that, and we'll provide the board with as much information as we can, and we will invite the public to come back and give us their information. But at that same time, you'll also have the applicant here who'll be able to represent their interests and their side as well. So tonight, anyone that's here, we welcome everybody here, but if they're here to speak on the text amendment that is coming up and has been set for a public hearing on August the 28th, we need to invite them back on August the 28th because it's going to put the county into a bad situation, in my opinion, to hear it tonight, because what you're going to end up hearing is opinions from one side, not from the other. And the purpose of the public hearing and setting it on August the 28th is where we can hear from all parties on that. So, so again, we welcome everybody here tonight, but I did want to, mention to you guys, I had talked with the attorney, not an appealable situation, and in the best interest of the county and the process and being sure we follow the law, it's our recommendation that we not hear tonight from anyone about the text amendment issue or the rock quarry. And we do have some other public hearing items on the agenda, and certainly we can hear from people on that. And if there's other public comments at the end that are not related to the quarry or the text amendment, we can certainly hear those as well. And I know Ms. Webb, for example, is here. I talked to her earlier today, and she had a comment. But I just want to go ahead and mention that at the beginning of the meeting, because there may be some people here that have come for that, and I don't want them to wait around to the end and then find out that they can't speak.
Good, I'm glad we did that.
Okay.
Can I just ask one question about that? Why is it not appealable? And where is Ms. Henderson?
Scott, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you will, Scott, if you'll call me.
You can go over that. I'll get you outside.
Okay.
And I'll speak.
Why can't we as citizens talk at the end of the meeting?
You can talk, but you can't talk about the rock quarry or the text amendment. Because if you do, you're going to put the board into a situation where the other party's going to come and say, y'all held a public hearing without it. And that's why you need to come back on August 28th.
They had just as much right to show up tonight as we did.
Well, they did, but it's not on the agenda.
We did not announce a public meeting, so they have no way of knowing.
Right.
Anybody can come to any commissioner's meeting but...
Sir, I'm not going to argue any further.
You don't have to argue.
That's it.
Biggest difference is a legal situation.
Yes,
That's
it is
it.
a legal
It's
situation.
We can't get into that area.
And in reality, to come and speak tonight on the issue, it actually puts the county in a worse legal situation. If we get down the road and then they go back and things don't go the way they want to go, they can talk about that meeting you had and the information that was shared, and y'all have made up your mind.
Can you at least let us know who hires and fires Mrs. Henderson? How did she get hired?
No, that's not going to be discussed
Call
now.
me. I'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
The board doesn't have to speak, but the community can speak.
Well, then you're introducing to the board information that you need to wait till the 28th. Please come back on the 28th. In the meantime, I'll be happy if you want to call me. I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. But this group has to have a public hearing to be able to hear both sides, to be able to follow the law on how the zoning goes. I'll be happy to share.
So you guys pushed that 30 days out to the 28th?
We did, yes, sir. We pushed it out to the 28th. We could not make that 30-day time period because you have certain advertisements. You have a 14-day minimum, I think, on rezoning. This is technically rezoning, and we could not make that. So We did correspond, Ms. Henderson, myself, with attorneys on the other side, and said, we can't make that timetable, and of what the judge ordered for 30 days, so it's been pushed out to August the 28th. And we invite you guys to come back. If you have questions, I can sit down and answer anything I can for you, and I'll be more than happy to do that. But I'd rather not put this board into a situation of having to hear the public comments and the other things, which may put them in a more defensive situation if the zoning doesn't go the way one side or the other wants it to go.
Okay. Please rise. If you would, please bow with me. Father, we just come to you at this time, thanking you always for the good things that you do for us. Lord, so many of the things that we forget, we just ask that you would call that to our remembrance. Father, be here in our midst. Lord, and where there's stress, we just look to you, Lord, as the greater judge, as the one who can look through and see all the needs and especially what's in our hearts. Lord, we just ask you now to forgive us where we fail you. In Christ Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Please pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Commissioners, you've had a chance to look at what's here. I think Mr. Theron has one item you want to add under new business. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir, that is correct. We need to do our reappointments on the Region 4 EMS Council. Our records show, I think, September. The state records show June 30 as the expiration date, so we just really want to ask you guys to reappoint that because I think they've got a meeting coming up. And that's all I have for additional agenda items.
With that addition, do I hear a move that we accept this agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So adopted. We have the minutes from our regular meeting, July the 11th, and also there is minutes here from our special call meeting on July the 16th. Have you had a chance to read those? Do I hear a motion to be adopted as read?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So adopted. As far as municipal comments tonight, I don't know that I can see
Charlene.
Charlene? Oh, I see. You have anything? Appreciate that. Is there anybody else out there?
Mayor Nash.
Mayor Nash.
Mayor Nash, where are you?
Right here.
Oh, okay. You don't have anything? I was looking for you back there. I saw Donald Cuddy here from Luthersville that night. He left, okay. All right, no more comments. Constitutional officers, who do we have tonight? Anybody? I do have the sheriff's office represented here.
We're good.
We're good? All right, department head comments. I'll go ahead and get started here. Skip, are you over there? I can't see you.
No, Chairman,
Okay.
nothing at this time.
Tyrell?
I don't have it.
Okay. Alphonse?
I just want to mention briefly that we received another small grant, another Georgia Trump Commission grant for about $3,000. Not a big one, but just want to let the board commissioners know that we're working and trying to chip away, whether they're big or small, we're looking for all the open and funding we can get. So.
Thank you,
So I
Alphonse.
was fair share with that, so.
You know, Mr. Chair, can I ask, again, I forgot, what is that date of the SAFER grant? You know, I was wondering.
3 days from now?
3 days from now?
I think, 27th. I believe we might be having some paperwork issues, getting some things straight. They've asked for some information about, what could potentially be an award, but they have not given an award yet. So it's optimistic, but we don't know for sure yet.
If you guys will just listen out on the 27th, we'll be yelling and screaming, and you'll be able to hear. We get that.
You won't be by yourself.
That's right, that's right.
Ronnie, you gonna hold yours till the,
All got up here.
okay. Who else is back here? Did Miss Jane go back to her area? Oh, Miss Kelly, you're totally out of place. You like Miss Nash. I can't see you right here.
Yeah, I think I've set it up already.
Okay. Carolyn, so yeah, Miss Carolyn.
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a public hearing, and it's case number 9, Samuel Sitzman. Do I hear a motion that we go into public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? The time, we are in public hearing. Ron, if you would, come to the front.
And, Mr. Chairman, there's a couple of things that I need to share with you guys as Ron comes forward as well. We have received we've received this from the city of Gay, where there's been a petition requesting annexation under the 100% method of annexation. That simply means that the properties are requested to be an annex. They're all in favor of it. And this, of course, involves only the 4-acre tract of land that is before you guys tonight for the rezoning and the special use permit. What happens with this is we've received this document from the city, but we also need to receive from the city their proposed zoning, their proposed land use for this parcel of property. And then from there, the county has a 30-day period in which we have to reply. If we have objections or not, or if there is no objections, we can go ahead and clear the letter, allow that process to move forward. So I wanted you guys to know that has been filed, intended to annex this property into the city of Gay. I did talk to the mayor of Gay today, who is here tonight, and I think their council has said already, and Mayor, I don't want to quote you, but I think y'all have been before the council and accepted this
We
application.
voted it 4 or 5 months back before any of this came up.
Okay, so you've already voted it. Okay. Well, this request was dated 7/9/2018. So anyway, that's before you, and then I think Ron will cover the other issue where there is still an outstanding issue in terms of the sewer and with environmental health. I know they've been to court. I understand that maybe, I'd heard today maybe the judge had said this was a ruled this was a club, but I did speak to the judge this afternoon, and she said that no, she did not rule it was a club. She said they might want to, change some of their signage, but she did not rule it was a club. So you still have an outstanding issue with sewer and environmental health, and you do have an annexation application on file that is being, the clock is ticking on that right now.
Okay.
Okay, thank y'all.
Ron, would you like to go ahead?
Okay, the case I bring, this is a case coming back to you from your, June 26, 18 meeting. At that meeting, Mr. Sitzman, which is this application, case number 9, Mr. Samuel Sitzman owns 4 acres located 19258 Highway 85, which is adjacent to the north city limits of Gay. The property is currently zoned A1. Mr. Sitzman is requesting a special use approval for an RV park at this location. Mr. and Mrs. Sitzman currently live in an existing house that is on the property. The Mariway County zoning ordinance does allow an RV park at a special use approval in A1 zoning district with a minimum lot size of 2 acres and some other development requirements. It is my recommendation and the recommendation of the Planning Commission that this RV park be approved be contingent upon the approval of a health department compliance letter for the septic system. So that's exactly what came to you back in June. So now we're back tonight because at that meeting you tabled action on this application until tonight. And the reason you tabled it is because Mr. Sitzman was issued a citation by the health department. He was also issued a citation by my office, and but when he came in my office to apply, to go through the process to be approved on our RV park, we pulled our citation out. The health department citation remained, and they went to court 2 weeks ago, I think. And the health department ruled the magistrate judge ruled in favor of the health department. And the health department's issue was that they could not issue a septic tank certificate for that septic system that's in place. It violates state health laws. So the court's come and gone now. They have made their determination. And basically your hands are tied tonight as far as approving this RV park, because one of the development standards of an RV park in our zoning ordinance is that there must be a compliance letter from the health department approving the septic tank system. And as of tonight, we don't have that.
At this point, we can't go any further.
Hands are tied because we don't have a septic tank compliance letter from the health department.
What are our options here?
Mr. Chairman, I think your options are to either table the issue till you receive the information that you've got, or the annexation may come about in that interim, and it may be back as an issue with the city of Gay, as opposed to the county. The other option, I think, would be to, I don't think you can approve it, but I believe you could deny it, and then have the applicant, start back over, work out his issues with environmental health, resolve that. They're still trying to determine if it's a club, it's not a club, there's a lot of things. But that's going to be up to environmental health and to satisfy them and to get this permit. And once that happens, then I think you can move forward. So I think your options tonight are going to be to either table it or deny it. I don't think you got any other options that were available to you. And if you're going to table it, I would suggest 30 days, to allow time to see what goes with the annexation and what happens with that.
Lord, it sounds like the ball's back in our court. What are your thoughts?
You can't take the vote here, like, because we didn't
come
come back
back
out. This is
Well,
just
I
a
just wanted to know
discussion.
what your thoughts
Well,
were.
I mean, we can't do anything,
Your hands
can't do
are tied.
anything, so.
Do I hear a motion, we come out of public
Well,
session?
it needs to, can't somebody speak on it?
They
Can
could,
still
they could speak.
Can he still, did you want to speak?
Yeah, some of the things he said aren't necessarily completely true.
Well, they are, but that's fine. They are completely true, but
All right, well, we'll go ahead and allow the speaker.
Here's your list.
Mr. Sitzman, if you would. You're right, I was jumping leaps and bounds there. Since you are the proposed proprietor, we'll give you the first shot at this.
In a minute. First off, whenever we left the last meeting, you guys were said you table it because you wanted to find out more information about the other operations and make sure the law is being applied equally and evenly. What did you guys find out?
And I have that information.
I think he has it.
Great.
What are the other operations doing?
Well, I'll mention, you mentioned Corpus Farms. Corpus Farms, this came again from environmental health. This is what they told me. It's very similar to what I said last meeting. Corpus Farms, the Big Red Oak, is a destination where people go for another event, okay? They go for another event, and they may happen to bring along their RV. And if they do, then they can stay and have the RV at that location. But they are not an RV destination. So if I want to go down to Corpus Farms this weekend and park an RV or other locations, they're not going to let me do that unless there's an event going on that they have. Plus, on top of that, they do not have sewer connections. They do a completely contained, RV. So you don't have dump stations there. You don't have those things there. So they really have zero impact. And with that, they do not have to have, it's my understanding, a sewer system on site because they're not a destination for an RV park. Now, the situation here with Mr. Sitzman is he actually does have a sewer system on site. He has a sewer system that was designed for his home, and there's been extra connections to allow RVs. Now, environmental health, and again, this is an issue they need to resolve with Mr. Sitzman and vice versa, has told me that Mr. Sitzman really needs a second sewer system to be able to handle the 10 RVs, and in addition to that, he needs a 100% replacement area in case there's a failure. So that is something that environmental health still needs to have cleared. Now, also, it's been said that, well, Lake Meriwether is not in compliance. Well, again, Lake Meriwether has zero sewer hookups, nor do they have any dump stations. So we don't have anything at Lake Meriwether that, where we take the sewer. Everything has to be moved off. Now, the state is now saying, well, you really do need to have a dump station if you're going to be something like the Meriwether Park, and we have that in the plans. We've already looked at it. We met with environmental health, I think it was toward the end of last year, or maybe the first of this year, about a layout plan for that, and so we're addressing that. We're trying to move forward with that plan. I will say that this operation at Lake Meriwether has been in place for a long time. Here is 1973. This is a sewer layout for the bathrooms and bathhouses that are on locations. And as of today, this is still the only thing we have on sewer. We do not have any dump stations. We do not have any RV sewer connections. This has been inspected through the years. Somewhere along the way, I think they did not inspect it or stopped inspecting it for some reason. They thought, well, maybe it changed owners, and it's never changed owners. It's always been the counties, and I know there's been various authorities and whatever that have been involved in it. But Lake Meriwether had a sewer system to serve what's there, and this is more than adequately sized to serve the bathrooms, which we are adding, in the showers. We have no dump facilities there, no RV hookups there, but we are going to do that. That is one of those things that the state, I think they told me the laws changed in 2014 requiring these and asking people to comply, and we're doing that. We are moving toward that, and we have been long before this issue came up, because we've already met. I think Mr. Buster, I think you were there as well. Yes. We met and talked about a gravity flow and then a pump back up to be able to utilize either the existing line or add an additional line as needed. So that answers the questions as far as I'm concerned with what about the other three. And we may have some representatives here tonight from some of the other entities, and but I think the information I've given you guys is factual as I understand it.
So you're not going to make that deal? I just want to make
This
sure
is
I'm clear.
between you and environmental health. It's not me. It's environmental health. Environmental health and the rules, and there's a big book on this.
I have a copy.
I know you have a copy of it, and it talks about tourist accommodations and various things.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to get into interpretation with you tonight. I'm just saying that that's one of the things that you guys need to work out with environmental health. Just because someone else has a different arrangement, doesn't make it illegal. And just because someone's not doing exactly what you're doing, their program may be different than yours. You can't really base, well, I shouldn't be held to the standards based on something else that you believe, especially when the criteria is so different. Neither the Lake Meriwether or Corpus Farms or Big Red Oak has any sewer discharge. So it's zero environmental effect. And so I think that's the difference. That's what environmental health people told me was the difference. So I'm just saying what they told me. It's facts.
Okay. First off, Mr. Garrett said that we lost our court case with the health department. That's true, we did get a fine because we couldn't prove that we were a club at the time the citation was written. The judge did rule that we are a club and we do not have to get the tourist accommodation permit. And this is the official final disposition from the magistrate's court, which says, must change sign to indicate park as a club with membership. That's the only thing we have to do. She said, we do not have to get it.
That's not what she told me this afternoon. She told me she did not, again, she did not, she did say that she said to change the sign, but she told me she did not rule that they were a club.
Could I see that?
Yes, let's get that up there.
Thank you.
Let me make copies.
Let's get more of a
Prior to the issue of the club coming up, since we're going down that road, I'll show you guys some pictures that were showing the facility and advertisements that were there and were out before the court case. And I think what the judge was saying, if you're a club, you need to change those signs. But she told me today, she did not rule that they were.
Well, she said it in court, so.
Well, then,
And they're not a court of record, so I can't pull the
well,
transcripts.
again, I'm just telling you what, well, that's
Okay,
fine. I was
let's
on
move
that.
away from that issue. Let's move on down the road.
Separate issue.
Okay. Was there something else that you would like to bring up, Mr. Sitzman?
No, that's all right. I'm not gonna get anywhere here. No, I'm fine at the table for another month and we'll get annexed into the city. We'll address the environmental issue in another court case, I guess.
That's good.
One that keeps records.
Did you appeal to the environmental health? Did you appeal to their board?
I have not yet.
I sit on that board as well,
Okay,
so I would suggest to do that.
that's next on our list.
Okay. Now, I have a number of names here. Let's be sure you're all here for the RV park. Arnett, Greg, you're not here for, what are you here for, sir?
Because it's next door, right next door to me.
Well, come on up and let's hear your, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm Greg Arnett. I bought the property next door, which used to be Steve Black's, which were Connie and Pat. Anyway, I spent $1.2 million to buy this property, and now I got an RV park popping up next to me. I also bought the property that runs around the back of it. There is a concern about the health issue, which is his leach field, if he goes to 10 units, are going to bleed down into the runoff area, which goes into 2 springs and supplies my 2 ponds that are down on our property. That's one of my big concerns. But the other concern is, I don't want to see it there. I moved to Gay, Georgia, because it's a little Gay, Georgia. I come from a small town in Florida, and we love this place, but I don't want to see an RV park stuck in next door to me. And also, I think the town of Gay, and if he gets annexed into the town of Gay, I think the town of Gay should not have the RV park stuck right down in downtown. If you're going to do an RV park, move it somewhere else. Anyway, any questions?
No, I think you made
Sorry
it.
about getting so strong about it, but I know Sam's trying to do the right thing and trying to build fences around, but it's just looking worse and worse in my opinion. So, thank you.
All right, Bruce O'Neill.
Well done, Board of Commissioners. I saw y'all before. This property we're talking about, my great-great-granddad is buried right at the back of it, where it stops, the cemetery back in. He actually had a log cabin under this house before Meriwether County was Meriwether County. And I hate to see a RV park right next to the cemetery back there. And O'Neill Cemetery is right behind it, just a few yards behind it. But it is an eyesore to the city of Gate. I usually don't get into nobody else's business, whatever they do. But I go up and down that highway hundreds of thousands of times in my lifetime. and it has totally changed the appearance of Gay, Georgia. And I think the Board of Commissioners really ought to give some credence to the neighbors all the way around there and try to do the right thing on this. And my biggest concern is, I won't call no names or nothing tonight, save it for a later date. These RV parks are popping up all over the county. Nobody's getting permits. Nobody's getting septic tank permits. Nobody's getting permits for the park. They just popping up. If the county's not real careful, we're gonna have one in every town, in every little corner. And I got pictures and photographs of it, and I got material to back it all up when I say, but I won't go into it tonight, and I won't call no names tonight, but if you want to know about any of it, we'll talk about it later. Maybe it'll surface and maybe it won't. But please give credence to all these neighbors around here, because some of them been there a long, long time. This ain't right. Change things dramatically. If it was out in the country, probably would nobody say anything about it. Right downtown, it's bothers some people. That's all I got to say.
I think I got you as anti, Bruce. I got enough from you to know you're anti.
Yeah, well, I got no problem with people making money and building a business. I got no problem there, as long as it doesn't encroach on neighbors and people around you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Amy Perrin, you're next.
I just want to say that it is an eyesore, and I live in Gay, live in Beverly County, and if it's approved, then you got to approve the next RV park. And not only do we not want it in Gay, we don't want it in Beverly County, anywhere.
Do you live in the city limits?
No, I live about 2 miles from the city.
Thank you, Amy. John McEwen.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is John McEwen. I live in Gay. We first became aware of the possibility of a park prior to last October. I'm not sure of the date exactly, but Jamie called and asked us if we would put the park on our website to advertise for folks coming to the county fair so they could rent a spot and stay there. So clearly this again is a business enterprise. I don't think that has changed. This is a business. The next inkling we had was really was a phone call was right before the last hearing, and then we were out of town. I called a couple of you folks and expressed my opposition to this. Came back home, picked up the paper, and I understand, from the paper that the town of Gay, or officials from the town of Gay, had told the citizens that it was an approved operation. They could do that up there. And that article also said that, well, they didn't understand that they didn't live in the town again. So part of the property's in the town, the house, and the majority of the property is in the county. And so this evening, Mr. Gay was giving you his briefing. I was really conflicted. Monday, I went to the town hall and asked some specific questions. One of those was, did the town issue an occupation tax certificate for this RV park? And the clerk said emphatically no, and she went to her desk, appeared to look for any evidence that one had been issued, came back to me and said, no, we did not issue an occupation tax certificate. No business license has been issued. So this evening, Mr. Gay reported that we had an annexation that request that had been voted on some months ago. Well, that was the other question I asked our town clerk. Is there discussion about an annexation project? So the answer was emphatically no, and the words I will not be able to exactly quote, but I believe I was intentionally misled. because the question I asked was discussed on the meeting of the 16th of this month, and is it on the agenda for subsequent meetings? Oh, no, nobody's been talking about that. So we need to get to the bottom of what's going on in our little community. Too many conflicting stories. And if you can't go down to City Hall and ask a question and get a straight answer, I think that's a place we need to be looking to work on to do better business. It was pretty clear what I was asking when I inquired about the annexation. And our clerk was emphatic that it wasn't on the table in the town game, not before the town council. So those are my comments. I'll be glad to answer any questions or return to my seat. Thank you so much.
I think we've got you as anti also.
Let me clarify that. The last two meetings, we have not discussed the annexation or the RV park. The meeting before last, there was not a quorum, so we could not discuss anything. And at the last meeting, we did not discuss either thing.
Thank you, Mayor.
You can read the minutes.
Miss Susan Pritchett, I know I saw you. There you are.
Here I am. Thank y'all, good to see you. As y'all know, I'm the face of QC Arena. And we keep getting compared to what's going on in downtown Gate. We're not doing what they're doing in downtown Gate. And I appreciate your remark, we're not a tourist destination. In a sense, I guess maybe we are. People with horses and trailers and RVs come to the ranch. But in their RV is a horse. Now, we accommodate that. For a long time, we didn't have RV hookups. Because we didn't want all the, whatever went with RV hookups. Little did we know, very little went with an RV hookup, other than electricity and water. But every time I turn around, I keep getting these calls, and our facility keeps getting brought up into this dog fight. Frankly, we don't have a dog in the fight. So, I appreciate it if QC would get out of this. We agree, it is an eyesore. Now, from another standpoint, I would like to say what they've done with that house is incredible. That house looks fabulous. I hope Miss Pat gets by to see it. They've done a great job. And the RVs in their yard aren't little toy, chunky looking things. They're very nice RVs. I'll give you all that. It's great. But it doesn't need to be on the main road through Gay, Georgia. We're a quaint little, cute little town with an RV park on the corner. Now, I don't have any negative about these folks. I'm glad they're here. I'm glad they want to live in our community. I'm proud to have them. We don't need an RV park in downtown Gay. And QC Arena brings a lot of money and a lot of people to Meriwether County year after year. They eat the restaurants in Woodbury and Greenville. They spend a lot of money at the gas stations. That's what QC does with those RV hookups. We bring a lot of people to town. We are not a tourist destination.
Kind of face me. Don't turn back and address the crowd.
We don't want to do it. I'm speaking for me, I'm not speaking for the ranch. This is Susan Pritchett talking, not QC Arena. But what we're doing is not the same. And I'd like that made real clear, that what we're doing is not the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Joey? And your last name is Hager?
Hager, but that's close enough.
Hager, okay.
Looks like
Hager.
I was curious about county sovereignty versus state authority. In any issue regarding Meriwether County's ability to make decisions for its best interest.
Okay, our lawyer's not here, but I can help you with that.
Yeah, this is a rhetorical.
U.S. trumps state, state trumps county.
we couldn't do anything.
No, we cannot override a.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't, you understand the context of my question. It's a more broad philosophical question. I don't know, I studied the Constitution, and the 10th Amendment says that, and I'm going to paraphrase, while we realize that there are many powers that have not been addressed at this point of the document, those powers lie first with the state, then the individual respectively. So if there are powers that weren't discussed, they lie with the state, not the federal government. And so I'll have to do a little research to see whether that same context lies within our state constitution. In other words, truly states have sovereignty over the government, over the federal government. And that was the way it was designed. I may assume, but of course you know how we assume.
Let me correct you a little bit. I think about 1865, that picture changed greatly. Federal government, the federal constitution trumps the state constitution.
That was only in the written agreements that they were going to have a binding union. So that was to say that they had signed a contract to be a binding union. And so I believe you're talking about secession. And so in that context, the legality falls with the federal government because any party would have voided the contract.
I think we're a little far afield. Let's move back to the.
Yeah. So I think, and again, it's a rhetorical question because I feel I'm big on individual rights.
Well, I am too.
Yeah.
There is another group that helps with some of the interpretation, reviews some of this, and that is the Board of Health. It's made up of, county appointments, health providers, I think school system and other
systems. Who is that? I'm sorry, sir?
Board of Health.
The Board of Health?
Now, Meriwether County Board of Health, and they meet monthly or quarterly. They meet quarterly, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, and again, it's my curiosity because I've done a great deal of study in the Constitution, just as a philosophical view of document. Take any context out of it. In the context of human history, it's a unique document.
Well, of course.
And so I thought perhaps that same sort of philosophy fell within the county versus the state, that it does the state versus the states have sovereignty over the federal government in actuality on many or even most issues. So, and again, I'll have to look into it myself, but it's a rhetorical statement for us to ponder as county residents and for you to ponder as board members of our county law. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Joe, appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that we don't have on this list that would like to speak on this particular issue? Okay. Commissioners, do I hear a move that we go out of public hearing?
So
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're out of public hearing at this time. I think my point of confusion when we first launched into this earlier, when I began to realize we had a conflict with what the state of Georgia has said and what we could do, I was wondering how far we could go at that point. Do we really continue the public hearing? And I don't know that. Is there a rule on that? How do you,
I
what is
think
the point of law?
I think you could continue that, waiting on some of these other things to happen, because if the annexation doesn't come through and they do get approval from environmental health, it could come back before this board, and then you guys would have the grounds to make a decision. But right now, your hands are tied, and there are several issues that still have to be addressed.
Sure.
The annexation, is 30 days out. I don't know when and if the sewer issue will be squared away. There are things I think that could be done to satisfy environmental health. So I think it's up to the board. I think I think you got two options. I don't think you can approve it based upon the outstanding conditions that are there. I think you could table it. If you do, I would suggest tabling it to the end of August to give 30 days to see what happens with the annexation. Or you can just simply deny it and let them work out the issues with environmental health and see what happens with the city. And then there could be another application that comes back if those issues are worked out. And if it works out in the city of Gay, then it's really not an issue for you guys anyway. If everything else was in order and you approved it tonight, and then it comes in for annexation, it's out of our control anyway at that point, because the city will become the governing group in terms of the zoning and the use in their town.
Well, here's what I think is gonna happen is, like Ron stated, we cannot make a decision on this without a certificate from the Board of Health.
Right.
Environmental.
Absolutely.
So if we table this tonight until our next meeting, there may still not be a decision made by environmental health.
That's right.
My suggestion, Mr. Sitzman, is that we table this tonight, and you get on the Board of Health agenda to speak at that meeting, so that we can make a final decision. And as I said, I sit on that board as to what we can and cannot do legally for you. Then at that point, based on that decision, it can come back before this board. But I think if we table it just until August 28th, it may be another night like this to where we table it again until we hear from environmental health. Saying all that, I'd like to go forward and make a motion that we table this. I know you're going to speak, sure. That we table this tonight and wait until the Sitzmen go to the Board of Health to see whether they approve or deny for the septic system. And I also think that we need to put off the annexation until we get that approval or denial from the Board of Health. I think nothing else needs to go forward until all of that is taken care of.
Well, I think that the annexation, we may, and I'll be glad to talk with Kennedy, I think we may have a time period on that we have to engage it. But I would say this, whether it annexes in the city of Gay or stays in the county, the same issues are going to follow it with the sewer. Because Gay's going to be under that same interpretation. So, either way, environmental health, and that's why I suggest he needs to go, and your point was good, coming to the Board of Health, because without that, it's not going to really work in either location.
No.
Mr. Chair, I want to make a couple of comments. There are a lot of criteria attached to this, and I think one of the things that that's concerning to me is that it's been operating already as a business that did not have a business license. So first of all, I have concerns about that you are operating without the proper documents to operate. Secondly, it's been to the magistrate court. There's been a statement here, operating as a tourism accommodation without a permit, and it's been fined for that. Now it's been brought to our attention about the health department. There's just a lot of things that should have been put in place. I'm not sure why there wasn't a process by checking things off before it came to us. But I think all of this should have been done before it came to the board. All this should have been cleared up before it came to the board. So based on the fact that there's so many other stipulations involved, I personally would like to make a motion that we deny it, and that if the individual, especially now since they've also taken the time to want to get it annexed, so we got to wait on that. So I think there's just too many other things. If all this doesn't happen, come back to the board and then present it. But I personally, based on what's been presented to us tonight, I would like to make a motion that we deny.
I second it.
I have a motion to deny and a second. Further discussion?
And I'll actually withdraw my motion.
You did make a motion. I appreciate you withdrawing that. Yeah, I was thinking you did, not just a point of discussion. And you do withdraw that motion?
I do withdraw my motion.
Okay, the motion is to deny. All in favor? Motion is denied.
Commissioner McCoy,
Yes, sir.
now that the board has denied this application request, I have no choice but to start enforcement procedures tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
We will give Mr. Sitzman a reasonable amount of time to have the ROEs moved out, because now it is illegal in the middle of the county after the vote.
But Ron, but he was operating this without a business license for this specific thing, right?
That's right, we didn't know about it until this
Right.
last October, cotton tape back.
He would not have been able to get a business license because he had not had the...
He didn't have an approved RV park, so he couldn't got a license.
But I guess my concern is, if there are people operating, knowing that they are operating as a business entity to profit, you have to have a business license. So if you're going to overlook the rules, there's a reason why rules exist. And Meriwether County is no different than any other county. If you're going to operate as a business, then we need to make sure that those who are doing this are meeting the guidelines and the criteria for that business.
And as was stated earlier, I don't think this is the only one. I think we've had some discussion, so I think that needs to be, the rest of them need to be addressed.
Addressed as well.
The business license question that you had, Commissioner Hines, was irrelevant because they had an illegal RV park. So once we were made aware of that, then we started enforcement action immediately.
Okay.
And went to court. We issued a citation. Didn't go to court because Mr. Sitzman applied through my office for a permit to have an RV park. So
That was after the fact.
that was after we issued a citation.
Right, that's after the fact.
That's right. So we pulled our citation out to give Mr. Sitzman an opportunity to go through the process and get all his part approved. So we know now what happened. It doesn't have an approved septic tank system. And we're back here for the second time, so business license issue didn't even come into play really.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Looking at our agenda, there is no old business that I see here. Under new business, our first order is appointment to DFAX District 4.
And that's mine, and I would like to ask to table that.
Table.
Make a motion to table tonight.
Is there a second? All in favor of tabling the appointment? So carries. Confirmation of the Paxton agreement. Is there a explanatory?
I'd be glad to explain. It's just really paperwork keeping up. We had an agreement with Paxton, and that agreement time has run on it, so we need to re-execute it again. We're currently using Paxton employees, and they're very satisfied with that program. So we recommend that the board execute the Paxton agreement for the upcoming year.
Do I hear a motion that we confirm the Paxton agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? So passes. Now, we have a reappointment to Region 4 EMS Council.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as I said, our records indicated September, but the state records indicated June, so we want to really be sure we go ahead and get these redone. And that's for Keith Brady, and Alphonse Pine. And that will be the appointments to the Region 4 EMS Council.
Do I hear a motion, we reappoint Keith and Alphonse?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? So passes.
Thank you.
At this time, we have our report from our missing finance director. Are you going to cover this?
Well, he has provided you guys with the financial sheets tonight. I will say that, Meriwether County continues to do well, and we are moving on, and even with doing well financially, we are still accomplishing quite a few things. So I'll be happy to answer any specifics we have, other than to say that we are, we're doing well in terms of collections. We are almost to a point where we're going to be working on our digest for the upcoming year. I think the board's going to see some growth in that digest this year. Allison is in the process of setting up a meeting with myself, the tax commissioner, the tax assessor's office, and the school system, where we can lay out the timetables for adoption of the millage rates and everything, because there's certain criteria you have to follow, and I like to start at the end date back up to see where we are. So that meeting will probably be taking place here within the next week, and we'll be bringing that process back to the board.
Very good. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Let's move on to your report, Mr. Getty.
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to. Just want to let you guys know we got a letter from DCA saying our comp plan has been approved. It says in recognition of this, Meriwether County's impressive achievement, the Department of Community Affairs is honored to award a qualified local government status to our community, so we do have that. That was a tremendous process that you guys managed very well, because it came through and everything went excellent with that, and all the cities working together. That was a great process. Plus, it also gave us a great tool going forward. Mr. Hines mentioned earlier about doing a study and putting it on the shelf. We have a 5-year work program that you guys established in there, and I can assure you that's not going to be put on the shelf. We're going to try to implement all of that we certainly can. So I want to mention that. Our service delivery strategy, I think when they started reviewing this, John West, who was the guy I've been working with, John had some of his staff review it. They were a little bit confused by 1 or 2 of the maps, and so I've got to go back, and I talked to John last week about that, and I explained to him that, you know, indeed, this is what our intention was. The water service in the unincorporated area was to be decided at a future date based upon, you know, expansion of the city or contract with the city. So John understood that better. So, but I may have to make a couple of drawing changes on that. I think the city of Greenville has a project that they need to be sure we get included and in the right boundaries. So I'll take care of that, and we'll take care of that here in the next few days. In the meantime, we do have our service delivery strategy extended to October, but we're going to take care of that much sooner. We've been working on our LMIG. I've got all the roads quantities calculated for all of the roads. We added in several roads that we really need to do some major patching on. We added in Sullivan Mill and Rocky Mount. There's some sections of that road we just need to dig out and redo, because we can patch them forevermore and they'll never be right. And we're also going to go back and we're going to include County Line Church Road in that, because we're completing that road. It was kind of funny, they were down there working on it today, and the gentleman rode by that was just been out to vote, and he said, I don't think that's going to wash out next time. And so you know, we agree with him. So they're open that road already to local traffic. They're continuing to finish up the head walls on it, and we'll get that done. We're going to then pave that section as part of our contract. We also have a road that Commissioner McCoy and I spent Christmas Eve on up in the north part of the county here 2 or 3 years ago, that we repaired the pipe on, but we never resurfaced because we really didn't have that capability. So it's just a small section. We'll include that as well, so that will get paved.
What road is that?
That is Fleming Road. And then, of course, we're working with some of the cities. You know, we got one city that wants to do some parking improvements, and we're going to be working with them to get that into the LMIG. Got another city who wants a major road done that really needs it. They're working as well. We're going to put that in. We've been working on the specs on that. We have those. We're going to bid that out as part of the project as an addendum, and then that way the cities can go and say, yeah, I've got enough to pay for this, or no, I can't. And we go from there. We worked on Freeport exemption. I mentioned earlier the digest process. One of the things that you have to provide this year is where the Freeport exemption was approved. And we were having a little bit of a difficult time finding that, but we were able to narrow that down with a call to the Department of Revenue to a specific time when it was voted on, and Beverly and her staff were able to then locate where that vote had taken place, so we will be fine with that. County Line Church Road, I was going to give you guys an update, but I already discussed that. It is open for local traffic, and we'll be finishing that project, and then as soon as the paving is let, we'll resurface and we'll go back out and do that. I attended the GDOT public hearing on State Route 109 bridge replacement, the Dan Strickland bridge replacement. Pretty well attended. There was a lot of interest in the State Route 109, and the residents that turned out on Dan Strickland were very pleased with that as well. So everything worked well with that. Durand landfill report, we received that for the month of June, and everything was in compliance. There was no issue with that. We still are working on that funding issue, and we'll hopefully have that resolved for you guys very soon. Mr. Voss, David Voss, he's trying to come back to Meriwether. He originally had indicated he wanted to come back in August, but then as we were sitting here, I got another email saying he may want to come back on on the 31st of July to meet with us. And one thing that I'm going to need to talk to you guys about is this. Right now, implementation of that plan is going to take probably more time, with me being the lead for the county, than I'm really going to be able to have to dedicate to that. It's either do this or do this, and while that's very important, so are some of the other things. So I'd like to, maybe you guys be thinking about some opportunities. I know Carolyn's been involved, Ms. Jane's been involved, and we certainly want to make this a success. And I'm just concerned that right now with the other things that we've got to tackle this year, that it's going to be difficult for me to kind of take the lead. The school system is, Dr. Dixon, when he was there, he assigned it to another staff person. And I think they're coming back on the 31st, as I understand, to meet with the school system to talk about the kickoff and the program they're going to do. So I'll certainly attend that, and we'll become involved. Any of the board members would like to come, we'll get that on the calendar. Y'all are, more than welcome to do that. And we have some information he sent us outlining some tasks, and who will be responsible for that. And I've got some copies of that. There's quite a bit of tasks to be accomplished, and that's where it kind of concerns me a little bit with the time that may be involved. But I'm going to maybe try to meet with Carolyn and Ms. Jane, and we'll talk about that before the 31st, and then I'll come back to you guys with maybe some options on what we can do.
Mr. Gunn? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
In listening to Matt, manpower is always a challenge for us. So we got a lot of projects, but not enough manpower. So could one of the options be is to bring someone on as an outside consultant, or someone who, Dr. just said is with the school district, but is someone who else has some of those strengths, or maybe someone to be willing to volunteer, which would be great. But if that's not the option, because it's a short period of time just to implement that, maybe bringing someone as an outside consultant who has that kind of background could implement it and get it running and be that person to check off, and then maybe work along with Dr. Doucette so that we can make sure that the things that, the tasks that we have in front of us, we actually accomplish them.
Yes. And it's, it's one of those things where you kind of have to stay at it. You're talking about videos, getting messages, write, messages, and how to do business in the county. A lot of things that, that our staff simply, Beverly and Allison, they handle so many different things and juggle so many things. I'm amazed at the times of how they get things done, but they do a great job. But it's just one of those that's just a little overwhelming to us, particularly in light of other things we still have coming down the road. So I think that could certainly be an option. What I'll do is I will try to explore some of those options and talk with Carolyn and Ms. Jane, and then I'll come back to you guys at y'all's next meeting and talk about that.
Thank you.
Other things I wanted to mention, we have a road, and I'm not going to call the name of the road. We have a road that is a mud bogger's dream, I guess. This road gets used, and it's been a mud bogger's dream since I've been here. One of the first roads I looked at, and it's barely passable at times. What I would like for us to try to do, and I want to get the board's blessing on this, is I'm not talking about abandoning the road, but I'm talking about let's put up a gate and a fence and close this road for a period of time, giving the property owners access with keys and locks and everything. And maybe these guys will find that that's closed, and they'll find another place to go, because it starts in Meriwether, ends in another county. So it's just almost impossible. You could not get a sheriff's vehicle or anyone else in there to deal with the situation. I've still got another property owner I need to contact. But if the board's okay with that, what I'd like to do is get that other homeowner, property owner, and we only have one that's serviced just by this road. And if we can get them and let them understand we're going to have a key in the gate, And let's close this for a period of time, and like I say, maybe the mud boggers will figure out we can't come back in there, and they'll find another place to play, hopefully in the neighboring county.
Can we not identify who these people are? By tag numbers?
Well, it's tough, so they come out in the middle of the night. So, yeah, so the homeowners don't want to get out there, and you can't go down there and check on them, because I'm telling you, you cannot get through.
You can't get
Mud
on the road.
boggers have created a network. They call each other. They say on the GPS coordinates, this is where we're going to be, and this is what we're going to do. And it's always well into the middle of the night or early mornings. You just can't find it.
And these guys have found a spot off on private property to the side that they're doing these donuts. So they're just slinging stuff everywhere. And, of course, then they're waking people up in the middle of the night, too. You know, it's loud and it's everything. And so it's just a problem. And this would be, you know, a way, I mean, since there's no easy way to catch them, this would be a way for us to try to address that. And we'll take other measures as well.
It's okay, we won't ask, because I'm sure everybody has one in their district. I don't know if this is the one in my district. You said it goes into another county, but, those that we were able to, did we prosecute any people who was doing this last year, or?
No.
I don't think we did. No, I don't think we did. I don't know that we, you know, I'm not sure we were able to.
Once again, identify
yeah.
who it is. I mean, unfortunately, the cost, maybe we need to put something in the paper, let people know what this winds up costing the taxpayer every time somebody is doing this. That's money that we could be using for gravel and other things. The one that I'm thinking about, the road that I went on, it was unreal, the damage that they had done to this road. And once again, this is, you know, maybe the citizens can do their due diligence when they know these things are happening, because this is past a nuisance. This is an extreme expense to the county when we have to go in, pull manpower, to fix these roads, gravel. I'm thinking about the one particular road in my district that we spent months working on.
Well, it's no different than coming in and, you know, breaking the window in this building. It's damaging county property. And I know Bruce and I went down and looked at a road in South. I think we spent, what, $3,500 on gravel filling in that hole.
And I think the citizens are trying to help. When this is in the middle of the night and they can't even get down the road themselves because they don't have a vehicle to do it, it's hard for them to report anything. I mean, they can't catch them.
When I went down with this guy, he had a side-by-side ATV, and I thought we were going to turn over. I really did. I thought we were going to turn over this mud pit. It was that bad. And so it's hard. If the board has no issue with it, I'd like to try this as a method to see what we can do.
Anybody with an issue? Just go ahead.
This is not
Work on that,
permanent.
and I'll bring back specifics once we get that done.
Now that the mudslinging is over,
That's right.
Commissioner Threadgill.
I think we've done enough talking, I'll pass.
Commissioner Brady.
Well, I do have something I want to mention. I was in the tourism meeting this morning, and we are planning a tour of Flint River, and I understand that the county owns like 1.5 acres. So we want to go down, and I think Mr. Silman is just going to take us around. Does the county?
The issue came up, if I mean, do you mind to clarify? Okay, the issue came up because we were talking about the project that has been organized by it's not the Flint River Keepers, but it's a similar kind of group that wants to protect Flint. Anyway, they have organized a group from all the way from the start of Flint all the way down to Apalachicola Bay to try to figure out how to put in border trails. So that's the genesis of the project. This conversation was an update on their work, but then it led into Mr. Sibley talking about some lakefront, river frontage property that is for sale, about 22 acres for about $100,000, which everybody was saying, well, there must be something wrong with the property, because that cheap. Anyway, it came up because there was conversation like, wow, it would be great if the county could purchase that and turn it into some sort of recreational destination, outing, whatever. And so we just simply said, since the county owns that little bitty part there where you can access Flint right at Bridge 18, I think it is. We just wanted to do a field trip. So that's all it was. We just wanted to do a field trip. So anyway, go ahead, Ms. Mayor. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That was it, and I just wanted to invite some of the other commissioners or whoever, if they want to go on this field trip, just to see the possibility or get to see Flint River. I personally have not been down there, so I definitely will be on the field trip. But if anyone else wanted to go,
When will it be?
August the 14th.
at
At
1:30.
1:30. We're gonna meet over at the Riverside Inn.
Oh, okay.
And that's it,
Is that, Ms. Murray? Okay. I only have a couple things that I'm going to mention, and the budget retreat is Thursday at 10:30. We probably need to mention that for Mr. Steele.
10:30.
And it will be at Lake Meriwether, so if you get a chance, come on down and you see some of the improvements that we've done. And the only other thing I've got to say, the people calling about roads, please be patient. We're trying our best to get folks out there. I know it seems like it just takes forever at times, but I have enough pictures of roads and branches and things in my, my cell phone. I could decorate the walls of the house at this time. You don't just get a call, you get a picture and they show you everything that's going on. And that's all I had. Commissioner Hadley.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Commissioner Hines.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Gay and his staff in putting together the work session and bringing the IDA, the water, sewer, and airport together. I appreciate that. I wish there were more citizens here to hear that, because it's a combination of a lot of people working together to move Meriwether forward. And so for those who are serving on these boards, we appreciate it, the time and effort they're getting to us. And I think it was very fitting because not only they presented to us, but the other people on the other boards got a chance to see what they're doing. And in that conversation, they were saying, how can we help you? So just the fact that the airport is saying to the IDA, we may be able to help you. So I think if we continue this, we'll realize that everybody can have a way to solve some of these problems and look at how we can go. So thank you again for bringing that to us.
Beverly
We
and I have been
continue to
talking
do
about
that.
And bringing them all together, as you said, gave an opportunity for them to hear each other.
Hear each other as well, so thank you for that. The other thing is, in reference to the fire station, each day I drive by, the one in Lone Oak, I can see the progress, so the walls are up. I've taken some pictures, so I'll make sure they get posted, and Brent, we get them on the Facebook page, but it's looking good. It's looking really, really good.
We're going to meet there on the 31st. We're going to have the next meeting with the contractor to review everything. So myself and Bill will talk on the meeting with the contractor.
One other thing, and my final thing is, I have been receiving several of these little postcards. I'm probably right at over 100 right now. And I definitely appreciate citizens getting in contact with me and with any of their concerns. But I do want to indicate that we have a moratorium on road closing. No road has been closed or will be closed until the county goes back and look at its ordinance. I was the one that brought this to the attention that we needed to look at it because it was so vague. So we are looking at it, but we have so many things going on right now. We've not had a chance to look at it. But I assure everyone, we've not made a decision on closing roads. So even though Mr. Gay just mentioned this one particular road, that's a totally different thing, temporary. But once again, you know, we're here to service the citizens, and we're listening to you. But, you know, we can't, like as the chairman said, we can't get things done overnight. It's a process. But once again, I do want people to know we have not made any decision on any road closing. And we will not make that decision until we've looked at our ordinance and it's been revised, and at that time, you know. So I just wanted to make sure that people are aware of this, because I've been receiving several calls.
You have, and I have.
I mean, I get my regular calls on roads, and now I'm getting these calls too.
And I, you know, I keep that, I've been hearing and been asked, well, when's that coming back up, or this road or that road? The reality is, there are no roads that are pending right now. What's pending right now is the criteria. So the criteria will come back to the board for your consideration and adoption. And then once that's done and the moratorium is lifted, then at that point, applications come back, but they've got to go back and start the whole process again. So,
That's it.
Is that everything? You've already told us well, I see Miss Susan, so she always reminds us about executive session.
Right.
Go ahead and let me circle the things here for executive sessions, legal and,
legal, personnel, and just legal and personnel.
okay. At this time, we've gotten to public comment. If you would, and I don't know who's keeping the timer tonight, but you get a 3 minutes. Okay, Skip's got it. When you come up, please give your name and your address, and then you speak to us, and try to hold it within the 3 minutes.
And again, Mr. Chairman, the issue of
Got the list.
text amendment cannot be heard tonight.
That's wrong on this another one.
Okay.
I didn't have a
Is
list.
his name on the list?
I don't have a list. Somebody took it with them.
For the public comment?
I didn't think we needed a list.
I thought they signed
You
it.
get your name.
You need to tell us.
Please give your name and address.
For the,
My name is Joe Howard, and trying to get my 3 minutes in, so I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I'll make a few statements, and then I'll sit down. First of all, as a representative of the community, people up north end of the county, I'd like to ask that on August the 28th meeting that we seek a larger venue. We will pack this out, so we'd like to seek a larger venue for that meeting. Also, as citizens, we're not pleased that we've been to 2 meetings in 2 nights, and the county attorney has failed to show up to either meeting. We're also not happy that we were given information today that we could speak tonight on our issue, and we were told at the beginning of the meeting that we could not. Also, in reading your 2008 to 2028 comprehensive plan, I'm just going to point out a couple of items here. Encourage more environmentally friendly industry, promote tourism opportunities to widen the area, and also any development should be in the areas that are not infringed on residents and which will benefit from existing infrastructure, such as the 85. One question is, are there any plans that we do not know of county water coming into the county?
Mr. Howard, we just had a discussion there, and it's still in discussion phases. We are looking at a comprehensive plan across the entire county, partially by linking up what municipalities, what water source we have, and then we're also going to be looking at bringing water in from some external sources. But we are currently looking at that, yes.
Okay. All right. Also, someone mentioned the Flint River. Please keep in mind that the Flint River is one of the last, if not the last, free-flowing river in the United States of America. Remember that, please, when you think about the Flint River. And I guess, last but not least, please be sure that anytime you guys are making decisions, hearing people in the public, that you're making decisions based on the people that have elected you to office.
You did good, Mr. Howard.
Mr. Chair, I want to address a couple of things.
Sure.
You can come back up, Mr. Howard. We do make our decisions based on what people tell us, but also understand sometimes there are laws in place that we only have to look at specific things to vote on. We can't look at this argument, that argument. It is very specific in the law that comes down to us to do. Now, the other thing that I want to address is the county attorney comment that you made. That is my fault tonight, so you can blame me personally for her not being here. And I don't owe an explanation except that she had some personal things going on, and I told her probably best for her to stay and take care of some things. So if you want to lay blame on somebody, lay that on me tonight.
And she wasn't here last night either.
Yeah, but she doesn't normally come to those meetings.
I just want to make that comment.
The meeting last night, that group is an advisory group.
I understand.
And
I understand.
Mr. Greggy, I also, you spoke to me this morning about attendance, and I told you we'd be able to take care of these issues.
I just don't want somebody to be
She and
blaming
I
something
already
that's out of their hands when I asked her to stay and take care of what she needed to.
I understand. There's just a lot of questions, and there's a lot of questions.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll get those answered in time, okay?
Are there others? Seeing none.
Ms. Webb, I think
Oh,
Ms.
Ms. Webb,
Webb.
did you have?
We did, it's disappeared.
Yeah, I think Ms. Webb, she and I talked this afternoon, she wanted to come speak for just a moment.
What was your name again?
My name is Trini Webb,
Yes.
78 Willow Drive, Woodbury, Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
Just have three things I'd like to bring to your attention. Majority of the people that live in Meriwether County work outside of Meriwether County. And since we got the new tax commissioner, we did away with that one day out of the week that gave the opportunity for the real working people to be able to get a tag for their cars. I understand that as an elected position, the employees are not elected. The second thing.
Well, apprise me a bit more. I'm not aware of this
They used to
situation.
stay open late on Thursdays. Is that what you're talking
Yes,
about?
they used to stay open 2 hours till 7 o'clock on Thursday.
Okay.
And they did away with it when we got elected. Unfortunately, most of us live, I am fortunate that for the last year I've worked in Hogansville. But prior to that, I worked in Riverdale. And it's really sad for the ones that bring the revenue to the county can't even get a little accommodation from the county. The second thing is that I've spoken to the county administrator about our problem with animals in Woodbury. And we've got lots of animals loose. I know that I pay two types of taxes. One is city tax and county tax. To my knowledge, I don't see anything that I can really truly say that I see that I'm getting as a benefit from county taxes.
What kind of animals are you? Just feral
I'm talking
animals?
about cats and dogs. One of them bit my husband, and it was on a leash. But there are so many loose animal pit bulls and stuff like that wandering around the city. Even Ingalls was entertaining. One City Hall was even had a pet out there loose. So it needs to get under control. And if we could get an agreement or something, because I emailed the city and I emailed your county administrator as well.
And we do have, under service delivery strategy, we do have an agreement that we will assist. So if the city will simply call us with a problem, we'll assist them.
And they failed to for 2 years. I brought that to their attention, and they have not done anything. So I'm coming to plead from the county, since I pay county taxes, can we get something going? We need your help.
I'll be more than happy to talk to the city of Woodbury about it since it's in their jurisdiction. It really needs to come as a request from them to us, and we'll be happy.
I know there's a new administration now. I told them I believe in giving people a chance.
Yes, ma'am.
The third thing is the fire department.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that I looked at the population, and Manchester's 4,000, City of Woodbury is 900. There's nobody else besides Woodbury that should have came into a fire station in that line. But unfortunately, to this day, we do not have a fire station with 10-mile radius.
Okay, now you are getting a fire station. It's just a matter of us getting our ducks in a row. The site is selected, and we will be moving on that the latter part of this year.
I went down
I just
last
wanted to be on record that,
Oh, okay.
that we have waited patiently for a long time. I'm looking at the statistics of 2016, and we're the second one in line that should have had a fire station in Meriwether County.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have not.
Well, there were just some other factors that put a few ahead of you, but we are looking at that, and you will have your fire station.
It's done. I mean,
It's done. Yeah, we had to wait on GDOT donated the property. We had to wait on that to get cleared. We were down last week and we looked at that facility, and Chief and I went down on to a call for it. We looked at it, and we're trying to talk about, we're going to have some demolition there. We also tried to talk about how we may be able to reutilize. There's a good concrete slab there, so if there's ways we can reutilize some of that, we certainly will.
Okay, with that being said, future meetings, August the 8th, 9 a.m. is our regular meeting. August the 28th, will be our 6 PM regular, if you can use that word, meeting. And that's it. Do I hear a move to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about the executive session. Do I hear a motion we go into executive session?
So moved, for legal and personnel.
For legal and personnel. And you got a second, all in favor? All right, we're in executive session. My bad.